Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So this here is a video on how to install gears in a 4th Gen F body. Now this video's been up before, but I took it down because I found an issue with it. Now originally I broke the gears in, they were super quiet. I didn't think there was any issues, and then all of a sudden when I did a 0 to 60 video, this happened. So I think what happened is I didn't have enough carrier bearing preload, so the carrier's moving, and that's what's causing that noise. Okay guys, so here's a couple tools you absolutely have to have. This here is a dial indicator. This here is used to measure backlash, and a couple other things you'll see in the video that I use it for. And then this here is a set of digital calipers. You need this to measure the thickness of shims. Shims for the pinion and shims for the carrier bearings. Okay, another thing you'll want to do is buy a bearing kit. I'd recommend buying like a full bearing kit that comes with new carrier shims, pinion bearings, and the carrier bearings. And it comes with all new bolts for where the gear bolts onto the carrier. And it also comes with a crush sleeve, which I didn't use in this video. You won't see me using the crush sleeve. I use a crush sleeve eliminator. These here are your shims for your carrier bearings. Now what it is, so they come in 2 pieces, and then you add shims to make it thicker or thinner. Now one thing I'd recommend is when you take it apart, keep the original shims that come in the rear end, which I didn't do, I should have. And you can try reusing the stock ones. It probably won't work, but what you want to do is take both shims that come out of the original rear end and measure them. And then what you want is when you set these up, when you add shims in them, you want the 2 of them to equal the total of the 2 that come out of the rear end, and that way you shouldn't have the problem that I had, where when I installed the 390 gears, I got too much preload on the carrier bearings, and that's where the noise was coming from. And then on this 373 gears, because I got it too tight before, I was kind of nervous about getting it too tight again, so I ended up getting it too loose, and that's what's causing the problem in this here. If you take the measurements of the 2 original shims that come out of the rear end, you might not be able to reuse them, but you add up the total, and then the 2 new ones that you make, you want to make the total of the both of them to be the same as the original one, and that should give you the right amount of pinion preload. That way, if you got to shift the differential from side to side, you can just pull one shim out of this side and put it in the other side, or vice versa. Okay guys, so we're gonna take another stab at the rear end here. If you're watching this video, that means it must have turned out, otherwise I won't be posting it. Anyway, I already took it apart. I probably should have got that on camera, but it's pretty straightforward. But anyway, if you're gonna be using new bearings, you gotta take out the old races. I've already started the inside race, you can see. Anyway, it's pretty simple. You just you need a punch, and you just put the punch right in that. There's a little cutout there, so you can get each side. You just got to work each side down a little at a time. Just about out. Okay, so there's the old race. I believe the noise issue come a little bit from the gears, but not more so from the carrier bearings. Okay, we'll flip this over and we'll get this other bearing race out. Okay, you can see where you can knock the other one out. There. Okay, now what you want to do is clean the whole case up, spray it down good with brake clean or something. Okay, so once you get it cleaned up there, you can put your new bearing races in. Okay, so this is what you'd normally use as a race driver. It just slides in like that. I found it to be too light. It takes forever to get them in there. So I got this thing here for pressing ball joints and universal joints. Anyway, I found this to work better because it's just the right size and it's got some heft to it, so you can actually drive it in there a lot easier. Anyway, after you get it all cleaned up, just line it up here. Just that right there. You gotta try and keep it centered. And you need a good size hammer. Just a little small hammer, you'd be forever getting it in there, I think. And once you get it started, just check it, make sure it's going straight. Keep checking it because sometimes it'll go a little bit sideways. Just going a little at a time. I said, this isn't really the proper tool, but I found it to work a lot faster than that other thing. See, she's going. It's going fairly even. It's maybe a little bit more on this side, but that's all right. It looks like it's almost all the way in. What you got to do to be sure is take your finger in here, and it's a real sharp edge, so be careful, and just make sure it's fully seated. And it feels like it is. Okay, so once it's fully seated, then you can flip it over and do the other one. Okay, now for the smaller bearing, I got this here. It fits perfectly. This one here drives a lot easier than the big one does. And you can see, I think you can see right there, you got to get down to this lip down here. There, you can hear the it sounds different. So it's fully seated. Just take your finger and just make sure. Okay, so we got the new bearings in, or the new bearing races in. Okay, so before I take the carrier bearings off, I'm going to remove the gear because I'm actually switching gears. These are 390s and I'm switching to 373s. So just to make it easier to handle, and it's got to come off anyway, I'm going to remove them. Now these are reverse threaded, meaning normally you would go clockwise to tighten. These ones here actually go counterclockwise to tighten, and to loosen them you go clockwise. So we're going to remove all these bolts. Okay, so the gear drops right off. Just makes it easier to handle. Plus, I want to check something too. I don't know how well the camera's picking this up, but the gears don't look bad. I think the gears were pretty well lined up. I really believe it's the carrier bearings. I had too much preload on them. But the gears making good contact, as far as I can tell. Okay guys, so I removed one of the carrier bearings, just to give you an idea how the tool works. You put the race back on top of the bearing, and then this here goes around and you tighten this down and tighten this one up, and then you screw this down. It pulls the bearing off, and what it does grab the cage. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be reusing these anyway, but it doesn't really hurt the cage anyway, because you got this here's pressed down. So while it is pulling on the cage is also held in place here. So it doesn't actually hurt the bearing, but I'm going to be putting new ones on anyways. I just wanted to give you an idea of what it looked like. And this goes down in here. Then it captures like this. Oops. So what you want to do is get these as tight as you can. This goes over here. It's got a little ring here. Now, a good idea is to get some oil on your threads. So it'll help the tool last longer. It pulls them off quite easy. Okay, I didn't have that ring tight enough, but anyway, it still pulled it. So there, this. I got this tool off Amazon. It's only, I think it was less than 200 bucks. And if you screw up rear ends as much as I do, it's a good investment. Okay, so now we're going to remove the pinion bearing. Now, I don't care about this bearing, but I want that shim. That's the original shim that came out of the 323 gears. And I also used them on the 390s because that seemed to be the best. And it may end up being the best for the 373s. So we're going to remove this bearing. We got it captured. What we got to do is bring this down tight. Okay, so once you got it captured, these pinion bearings are on there a lot tighter than the carrier bearings. Still took it off like it was nothing. And there's our bearing. This is what I was after, is a shim. Okay, if you don't have the tool to pull the bearings off, you can just cut them off. Like right here, you'll see I'm cutting the pinion bearing off with the die grinder. And you can do the same with the carrier bearings. And the carrier bearings are pretty easy to put back on, so you can just use the old race from the old carrier bearing and just put it on top of the new bearings and just use a hammer to put it on the carrier. And later in the video, I'll show you how to put a new pinion bearing on without a press. Okay, so now we're going to put new carrier bearings on. I already got the other one on. So you want to just line it up. And I got one of the old bearings that I had from last time. Now you just gotta... This here's also a cheap tool that I got off Amazon. It was less than a couple $100. You gotta make sure it's right in the center. It's pretty close. Now you can see it pressing on. These ones don't press on that hard anyway. The pinion bearing's a little bit harder. Okay, I think we got her. You look in here to make sure it's seated, and it is. Same as the other one's all seated. So there we got new bearings in it. Okay, so I also got the shim set up, and I used real thin shims inside. That way, when I got to set the backlash, I can just, if I got to go this way, I can just take one out of here, put it over here, or if I got to go in, I can take one out of here and put it over here. Now, seems to spin fairly free. It's a little noisy. I don't have the caps on, plus I didn't oil them either. But it spins freely, and I can get it out by hand. Now, it won't just fall out. It won't just fall out, but I don't have to use a crowbar to pry it out like I did before. I had it way too tight before. Now this might be too loose. I don't know. That's the problem, is there's not enough information about how much preload to put on your carrier bearings. There is on your pinion, but not on the carrier. But anyway, this is the way I got it set up for right now. I can pull it out by hand. It takes a little bit of force, but before I had to use a crowbar to get it out. Okay guys, so it's about a year later, and everything worked out. The rear end was nice and quiet and everything, but when you put it under load, it would make a snapping noise. And what I narrowed it down to is I should have known better, but I didn't put enough shims in the carrier bearings. I didn't preload the carrier bearings enough, so I gotta take it out here and fix it. But other than that, it was quiet. And I think what's going on when it's under load, the carrier moves over just a little bit, and then when it unloads, it snaps back. Now mind you, it's moving very, very small amount, but when car's under load, it's able to push the carrier over, and then when it unloads, it comes back and it snaps. I think what it is, the axle is hitting the little block here, or at least that's what I think it is. I've already taken it apart and put more shims in it once, and that did quiet it down, but it still didn't get rid of it completely, so I got to put some more shims in it. But anyway, if you're watching this video, that means it must have worked out, because I took this video down when I started having issues with the rear end. But if you're watching it, that means what I'm doing right now is going to fix it. So anyway, now I'm gonna go put the gear on. Okay guys, so here's something I never did last time, but I want to check the straightness of the carrier. So I got the dial indicator set to 0. And you see it's not perfectly round, but it's not off by much. Okay, so I would say that's good enough. I think they recommend not being off by more than 2 to 5 thousandths or something. I think it's 2 thousandths, but I'm not sure. Okay, so this is what we're using this time, a set of 373 motive gears. Hopefully we'll have a little better luck with these ones. Okay, another thing I recommend is just go over this lightly with the file. Just make sure there's no burrs on it. Okay, so we're going to put the gear on the carrier. And the bearing kit comes with all new bolts. And you'll probably need to use the bolts to pull it all the way in. It's a little bit tight fit. Remember, the bolts go backwards. And normally you put some red Loctite on these, but this here just set it up. I'm not actually going to torque them on just yet, just because sometimes if the gear's not perfect, has a little bit of run out, you can shift it, and that'll sometimes cure it. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but anyway, we're just putting these in temporarily for now. Okay, so this time I got the dial indicator on the gear. We'll see how much run out there is here. It's pretty much the same as before. And this gauge isn't the best either, so, but I don't know, she looks good to me. Okay, so here's what I'm using. I call them test bearings because they've been honed out, so they'll slide right on the pinion. These are brand new bearings, but like I say, I bought them just for this purpose alone. So anyway, we'll put this in the carrier and then we'll check the pattern. Okay, so we got her all together. I think the backlash might be a little too much, but I'm not worried about that right now. First thing we want to do is check the gear pattern. And I'm using the original pinion shim from the original 323 gears. So we'll paint some teeth here. Okay. We'll just roll it through the gears here. Roll her through one more time. And we'll go through the other side. It looks fairly centered, but it needs to go that way some. Okay, what I think I'll do is check the backlash, get it set, and then I'll do another gear pattern. This looks, it's off some. It needs to go in a little deeper, but when you look at it up here, it looks pretty good. But anyway, we'll do the backlash. Okay guys, so I checked the backlash all the way around. Like I checked probably 10, 12 different places, and she all comes out about the same. Somewhere between 8 and 9 thousandths all the way around, which is in spec. So backlash is good. So I'm going to recheck the gear pattern. I don't know, couldn't get a good read off that. Okay guys, so I wasn't real happy with the pattern I got. So what I did was I added another shim to the pinion. I didn't actually measure it, but it's probably about the thickness of 2 sheets of paper. And that ended up tightening up the backlash some, so I'll have to check that. But first I'm going to check the pattern. What I didn't like about the pattern is it was too much on the outside. It wasn't into the root far enough. So anyway, we'll check it again here. Far as I know, if you bring the pinion in a little bit with more shims, it should go further in, but I could be wrong about that. I'm no expert, that's for sure. And I think I might have put the paint just a little too thick last time too. So we'll try to get a little thinner this time. Okay, another thing I'm going to do, instead of turning the pinion, I'm just going to take my hand and put pressure on the pinion to make it harder to turn, and then I'm just going to press the gear. That'll put a little more pressure on it, I think. Okay. So I think it was better the other way, to be honest. Yeah, I don't like that at all. Yeah, I think it looked better before. I'm gonna have to go take that shim back out. It didn't look like it went down in further either, so. Although on this side it might have. See, this is the part I don't like, because I'm not. See, that there looks good. But that there side doesn't. I think it looked better the other way. Anyway, I'm going to clean this up, take it apart again, take that shim out, and try it over again the way we had it. Okay guys, so I decided to go with 85 thousandths for shims. The original shim that I was going to use is 80 thousandths, but I like the looks of the pattern on this a little better. Okay, so we're going to press the permanent bearing on. I'm going to use an old pinion bearing to help push it. And then we'll set it down in here. If I got enough room. So you want to center it. Just go slow. I think I'll stand up here just so I don't, in case something flies out. Okay, I'm just going to reposition that a little bit. There, she's sliding on easier now. Might have got her. Okay, so the new pinion bearing's on. Okay guys, you want to turn the oven on. Set it for 350, 400, doesn't really matter. But preheat the oven first. Okay, with the oven all preheated, we'll take I preheated the oven to 350. We'll take the bearing and put it in the oven. And I think I did this before, it was 5 or 6 minutes, but just to be safe, we'll do 10 minutes this time. Put your pinion in the freezer, and you want it to be in there, I'd say overnight, just to be sure. At least 12 hours, but I think I've had this in here for about 24. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes. So just set your pinion down, and don't forget your pinion shim. I almost did. So I take it out of the oven. It should drop right on. And it did. Okay guys, so I got the solid shim all set up. Now what I had to do is what I did, I took the old ones, I used it, and it was too thick, so there was hardly any pinion preload. So I removed one shim, and that got it just started. So what I did, instead of changing these shims, because the thing is, it takes such a small amount to go from no preload to having too much. So what I do is I tried it, and it just started to get some preload. And I took this off, and what I did is I just took the solid part and I just rubbed it on sandpaper and just take a little tiny bit off at a time, and it took probably 4 or 5 tries before I finally got it to where the preload is set properly. So now I'm going to check it again, but this time I'm going to oil everything up. Hopefully it'll still be in spec. Whoops. Because sometimes when you add the oil, or at least that's what I found, is sometimes it starts turning freer. So anyway, we'll put some oil down inside it here. Okay, so my shims are on. We'll feed it up through here. And I should have oiled this ahead of time, I guess. I'll just set it down in here. What I'll do, we'll get it tightened down first, and then once the bearing's pressed on, it'll stay in there. I'll start the bolt with the ratchet first, get it down on the threads, and I'm just going to use the impact gun. The reason I prefer to use the impact gun is that it turns smoothly, whereas when I'm cranking on this, it's rocking back and forth. But when you do it with the impact gun, it's smooth. That's probably good enough. I'm going to be reusing a different bolt anyway when I do the final assembly. And there's actually no danger of me getting this too tight, for the simple fact that that solid pinion shim, once it's tight, that's it. It doesn't matter how much force you put on it, it won't get any tighter. So I'm not putting my seal on yet, because I want to do a final assembly and recheck everything. I don't want to ruin the seal. You never know, because things could change. When you go from using test bearing to the actual final bearing, sometimes things do change. So I don't want to ruin. I only got one seal. I don't want to ruin it. So anyway, we'll oil this up. Like I said, I ain't put the seal on yet, and this here bolt, this nut, there's a new one that comes in the kit, so I'll use a new one on the final assembly. So we'll tighten this down. And I'm going to use the torque wrench to make sure that there's probably more torque on there than what I need. We'll use the torque wrench. I'll set it for 140, and I suspect it's probably already more than 140 foot-pounds on it already. So yeah, so it's already got probably over 140 foot-pounds on it. Now this calls for between 12 and 15 inch-pounds, and you got to have a little wrench like this. And the mine's off a little bit. You'll see that it's shown below 0 on this side. So we just turn it, and now it's showing high now. And that's something. Now when I had it together last trip, it was rated about 12 or 13. Now it's showing a little too much. Get everything on here. That's actually, once you get it moving, it's usually when you put oil on it, it'll go down some. I may have gotten it just a hair too tight, but I think that'll be all right. I'm gonna run it that way anyway. They loosen up pretty fast. But it's turning smooth. There's no notchiness to it. A couple extra inch-pounds. I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference as long as it's not notchy. And it's not. It's fairly smooth. I'm going to go with that. Now, when I checked it before, like I said, it was around 12 to 13. I thought it would loosen up some once I got some oil on it, but and there's no notchiness in it. It's just a little bit tight, but not enough to cause any issues, I don't think. Hope not. The reason I don't do it again, because it would take forever to loosen that up just a tiny bit. That's the problem with using the solid shim. It'll take quite a few tries to get her just right, but it's not notchy, it's smooth. It's just probably a couple inch-pounds tighter than it needs to be. But I don't think a couple inch-pounds is going to make much difference. Anyway, that's how to do the solid shim. Like I said, it took probably 5 tries before I finally got it to where I wanted it. And it's a little tighter now than what it was. Okay, so this is what I got for a pattern. It's pretty well centered. This here is the drive side. And then the coast side is pretty well centered too. It's a little bit higher up, but not too bad. And if you look like where the paint is on these other ones. Now, if you watch the videos, they keep talking about this football pattern. Something similar to that, but a little more oval. Well, I've had right now it's got 85 thousandths for shim in the pinion. The original factory one was 78 thousandths. I tried that. I tried clear down to 30 thousandths and all the way up to 120 thousandths and everything in between. And I just keep getting the same pattern. I don't get that football look that they keep telling me about. All that keeps happening is like when I had it too shallow at 30 thousandths, it was just grabbing the very edge of this gear on the back. And then as you bring it up, it starts moving down and in. But once you start going too far, it keeps moving down. So anyway, I got it where I figure it's the best. As far as the pattern goes, the pattern's been the same every time. It's just the difference of how far down or how far up it is, or how far out it is, out towards the edge of the tooth. And this here is pretty much the best pattern that I can find. That's covering as much of the tooth as I can without being too high or too low. So this is what I'm going to go with. Hopefully hopefully it won't be too noisy. Hopefully it won't be noisy at all, but like I said, I've tried it every which way, from 30 thousandths shim all the way to 120 thousandths. And it just doesn't change. I don't get that round football pattern that they keep telling you should be seeing. But even when you look at the pattern that Motive Gear gives you, it doesn't really show a football. It shows something similar to this. On here it shows that the drive side should be a little bit lower than the coast side, which this one is. If you look at this, here's the drive side, and then when you look at the coast side's a little bit higher than the drive side. So I don't know, that's the best I can do. I've tried every which way that I can get it done. One good thing I did find with these gears is the other set of gears, when I measured backlash, it'd be like 10 thousandths here, and then on this, say this side here, it might be 7 thousandths. And on that side way down there, it might be 8 thousandths, and then it might be 6 thousandths here. This one here is about 8 thousandths, in between 8 and 9 thousandths all the way around. I did several teeth. I'll do one here for you, and it's pretty much 8 thousandths all the way around. I've checked it in at least a dozen spots, so I am quite happy about that it's more uniform than the other gears that I had in it. So now what I got to do is I got to get these torqued to I think 60 or 65 foot-pounds, and I'm going to put a little bit of Loctite on it. Then I'll put a little Loctite on these, and these go 60 or 65. I got the sheet on my phone, and I'm just going to go with it and pray that it isn't noisy this time. I really do believe that on the other gears I did have just a tiny bit of gear noise, but I do believe most of the noise was coming from these carrier bearings. I had them shimmed way too tight. Hopefully I don't have them too loose this time. The carrier won't just come out on its own. It takes a little bit of force, but I can get it out by hand, whereas before I had to get a crowbar and kind of pry it to get it out. Now I don't have to do that. I can pull it right by hand. It takes a little force, but not too much. Okay guys, so this pinion calls for 12 to 15 inch-pounds, and I know last time I left it at about 18 or 19. I said I was just going to leave it, but I decided to better not. I don't want to go through all the work and have something go wrong. So anyway, I've messed with it so far. I've changed some shims. I probably had this in and out, half a dozen times, and it's still not right, but I'll show you here. So now it's reading, about 10 inch-pounds. Somewhere around that. So we're just off by a little bit. So I'm going to take it apart again, and I might as well show you what I'm doing. So anyway, we'll get the impact gun. Okay, now there might be a way of getting this out, because this here's the permanent bearing, so it's stuck in there. I don't know if there's a special tool or not. I've never really seen anybody do it. This is how I've been doing it. I just take my punch. You don't want to beat around here. You can see where I missed with the hammer and hit right there, but it didn't seem to hurt the threads any. So anyway, we're just going to have to beat it out. It's the only way I know how to do it. Okay, so I'll pull it down through. Anyway, here's a solid shim here, and then these are the shims that go in it. And I've changed these around now half a dozen times, and it's really close. Here's the problem. The difference between 10 inch-pounds and getting it up to the 12 to 15 could be as little as 1/1000th of an inch. And I don't have any more shims that I can mess around with, so what I got to do is I'll take this and I'll just slide it on a piece of sandpaper, just do a little bit at a time, and hopefully we'll get to that 12 inch-pounds. Okay, so this is all I got for sandpaper. It's pretty fine, but it don't really take a whole lot, so I'll just do this for a minute or two, and then we'll try it again. Okay guys, so I got everything set where I want it. We got this down to about 12-13 inch-pounds. It calls for 12 to 15. So I'm going to put my new seal in. Some people put silicone around here, but I'm not going to bother. I never had any issues. This here's all rubber right here, so that should help seal it. I'm going to use this just to tap it in. This on top maybe. There she's coming. You can hear the difference in the sound, so it's pretty well seated. He's all seated. Okay guys, so we got the pinion all in. I put the new seal in. I put a little bit of silicone around where this here goes on, just so it doesn't come up through the spot, the fluid don't come up through the spines. And I put some red Loctite on this bolt, and this is a new bolt that come with the bearings. We got the pinion preload pretty well right on. So when you turn it, it's about 13 inch-pounds now, so shouldn't have any issues there. And from what I understand, the most important thing is you don't want any notchiness. Like this, when you first start turning it, there's a little extra drag, that's normal. But once you start turning it, there shouldn't be any notchiness in it, and there isn't. This here is real smooth. Okay guys, so that's it. I got it all together. This is, I'm not taking it apart no more. Anyway guys, that's how I installed the gears on this car. I hope this video helps somebody out, and as I mentioned before, don't just use this video alone. There's other videos on YouTube, but like I mentioned, I believe this video here is a little more detailed about certain things. Anyway guys, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.